Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, how are you? How's your preparation going on? So in today's session, we will try to complete July as well as August agriculture current affairs. Okay, so since this session contains a lot of news, so we will try to focus on finishing the whole important news. That will be the first priority. Okay, so in between, if you think that you need to understand any particular thing, just tell this either in the comments or tell this after the lecture. Okay, because first what we will try to do is to cover as much news as possible, because this will become beneficial for us for the phase 1 examination. So let others also come. Okay, then afterwards we'll start. Good afternoon, Sai. So can you tell at least that whether this screen is clearly visible to you and my voice is clearly audible or not? Good afternoon, Shantanu. Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's start, because we have a lot to cover and we'll just focus on the important points that has the high probability of coming into the examination. Okay, so NABARD usually doesn't ask statement based questions. It usually asks one-liner based questions, and most of the questions, especially in the phase 1, is either one-liner or mostly dependent on the facts of the schemes itself. So we will focus on particular things in this session when we'll cover each and every current affairs. Okay, so let's start. So the first thing is, this is a particular scheme which is National Program for Dairy Development. Okay, so it's a scheme that has been restructured right now, because it was initially launched in, as you can see, February 2014, and the tenure at the start which was decided for this scheme was 6 years. Okay, then it was restructured again in July 2021. This is important date for you. Please remember that in July 2021, the scheme has been restructured and it has been developed from 2021 to 2026. That means 5-year tenure of National Program for Dairy Development is now. So this is with respect to the tenure or the restructuring. First of all, you remember that it is a restructured scheme, restructured for 5 years. Okay, and then the two components of this scheme. So what are these two components? So in component A, when you talk about this, so it focuses upon infrastructure development. It focuses upon developing various equipments as well as infrastructure that caters to quality milk testing as well as primary chilling facilities. As all of us know, because all the dairy products require cold chain infrastructure, because unless we have cold chain infrastructure, they'll not be, the shelf life of those dairy products won't be that much larger. So infrastructure facilities is the first component of National Program for Dairy Development. What's the next component? The next component focuses upon income of dairy farmers. Okay, so it focuses upon increasing sales of farmers. And how do we do that? By increasing access to the organized market. Okay, increasing dairy processing facilities as well as marketing infrastructure. So in this scheme, 3 things we've learned: restructured, 2021, 5-year tenure, 2 components. First, focus on infrastructure, then increasing sales, and lastly, these are very much important points. What are these? That it is being implemented in 9 states. Okay, so remember this number. In 9 states it is being implemented. This is the corpus amount, 1568. So remember, in terms of that, around 1500 crores the outlay is there. And one of the most important aspect of this particular scheme is that outside official development assistance is being provided by Japanese International Cooperation Agency. So this scheme or this program has the high probability of coming in the examination because it possesses all the metrics that IBPS usually, see whenever they ask a particular question. So that's why I'm saying remember each and every important details here. The outlay, how much corpus does Japan is giving, and what's the central government corpus? This is the central government's corpus, and this is state or participating institutions corpus. So based on looking on the outlay, can you tell me whether it is a sector scheme or whether it is a sponsored scheme? Who will tell? Yes, Shantanu is correct. Okay, because it possesses contribution from both center as well as states. Okay, but the important portion is that you remember the component or the Japanese component also, 924.56 crores. Okay, now let's move on to the other schemes. So as you know, even the state government schemes that are related to the agriculture as well as rural development are very much important. One line of questions can usually be asked, and it's most importantly, whenever you learn about state government schemes, the most important portion is to remember the name of the scheme and what is the most critical benefit that that particular scheme is providing, and obviously the state that has launched that scheme. So Uttar Pradesh recently has launched Nand Baba Milk Mission. Okay, so as you can see from the name itself that it is catering to dairy farmers who are producing milk. Okay, so as you can see, 1000 crore budget has been provided for infrastructure development of those farmer producer organizations, and here obviously the farmers are milk farmers. Okay, and one particular strategy that this Nand Baba Milk Mission is doing, that they are facilitating the sale of milk within the producers' own villages. So in this scheme, only these three things are important for you to remember. Please try to do that. Again, let's repeat. Nand Baba Milk Mission, Uttar Pradesh, 1000 crores, and sale of milk within the product's own villages. So we will revise, since only 6 days are left. We will keep on revising like this only. Okay. What's the next scheme? Conrad Sangma launches prime agriculture response vehicles. So Conrad Sangma is Chief Minister of which state? Yes, Meghalaya. So again, I'm saying that such trivia details such as chief ministers as well as even the cabinet ministers who have been recently changed or somewhat related to the syllabus itself, those members are also important if you are looking for GA questions. Okay, so it says that prime agriculture response vehicles have been launched by the Chief Minister of Meghalaya. So this is a particular scheme. Nothing is in there. Just remember this key term, prime agriculture response vehicle. It is nothing but a vehicle, okay, that is having or that is providing various services that are required for any farmer. So suppose me being a farmer, I will require raw materials. So obviously I will require transportation of those raw materials also. So such vehicles will provide me the raw materials from the warehouses to the farmland. Okay, so similarly, if I have to send my produce to the market, APMC Mandi, so such vehicles will aid in that. Okay, so this is the scheme all about. Here what we need to learn is the 200 fleet of 200 prime agriculture response vehicles have been distributed. Next is PM Swanidhi marks successful completion of 3 years. Okay, so I have highlighted this because it's the scheme of housing and urban affairs. It caters to which entity? Street vendors. And who will tell me how much amount of loan this scheme provides? What's the amount of loan does and PM Swanidhi provides to street vendors? Yes, rightfully said. Okay, so people are saying 10K, 20K and 50K. So are these three different type of loan that any particular street vendor can, take, or is there any, conditional? These two are conditional. Yes, 7% interest subvention. So it's not, so that's why I'm saying these three types of loans are not independently different. That means a street vendor cannot go and just take 20K loan or 50K loan. First, 10K loan will be provided to that particular street vendor. Only after repayment of this can this particular street vendor avail 20K. Okay, so this is a conditional loan, and this is different from the one of the scheme of SIDB, which is also known as Mudra Yojana, where you have three different type of loans depending on the requirement of yours, and you can individually take. There is no condition over that. No, we are not only doing schemes, other news will also come. Don't worry. It's just that we've just started with schemes. Okay, so this is the most important portion. And what's the current portion that is relevant in context of PM Swanidhi is these details. So which banks are being rewarded for being the topmost performer in case of PM Swanidhi? So State Bank of India, Bank of Baroda and Union Bank of India were the felicitated among the banks for providing a large number of loans to street vendors. So remember these three banks. And in context of regional rural bank as well as cooperative bank, those banks which came out of top in context of PM Swanidhi were Andhra Pradesh Gramin Vikas Bank in case of RRB and Srinidhi Credit Cooperative Federation in case of cooperative bank. Okay, so remember this, important in the context of current affairs. Next is data with respect to ENAM, very much important, and this is with respect to, I'm saying, not only important for ESI and ARD, it is important for those two subjects in phase 2. Okay, because a report has been arrived that actually tells us about the status of ENAM in previous year, that is financial year 23, which means from April 22 to March 23. Okay, so two details are there. First of all, there is a detail about turnover, and when we talk about turnover, we talk about the value of trade that has been done in the previous financial year, and then we talk about the data with respect to trade volume. That means how much quantity that has been traded on the platform in the previous financial year. Okay, so in case of volume, 41% surge has been reported, okay, from the previous year, and in case of turnover, the reported increase is 32%. So that's what I want you to remember, 41% in case of trade volume and 32% in case of turnover. That means the value of trade that has been happened on the ENAM platform. And what's the value? The surge in value compared to the previous financial year is 2.41 crores. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. The trade value. Okay. So this is trade volume, trade value increased by 36%. The surge is 2.41 crores. This is with respect to ENAM we are talking about. And ENAM, I hope if you want to understand, what does it do? It's a platform which connects all the APMC mandis or most of the APMC mandis in the country. And what does it benefits? because right now, based on the current or based on the individual state laws of market conditions or individual APMC state laws, some of the farmers are not even allowed to, sell the produce of their produce into another APMC mandi. But only because of ENAM, they can not only sell the produce within the different mandi in the state, but they can also send or sell the produce to APMC mandi of a particular different state. Okay, so this is what ENAM is doing, and that's what we are seeing on the platform. But because it involves a lot of digital infrastructure, the quantum or the corpus of trade is not as much as we expected. Another thing that we want to remember is, right now 1260 mandis from 22 states and 3 union territories have been interconnected in the ENAM platform. So remember this also. Okay, let's move on to the next, which is, it's just a statement which says that Jharkhand is mulling over, that Jharkhand is thinking about returning to PM Fasal Bima Yojana, because initially what happened, Jharkhand, West Bengal, and there's also one other state, Bihar, they actually told that we don't want to join PM Fasal Bima Yojana because we have our individual Fasal Bima Yojana, that they have their own state's crop insurance scheme, so they don't want to come into the central scheme. So here nothing from the perspective of news, nothing is important, but we want to know what's the PM Fasal Bima Yojana is all about. So first of all, the premium rates, as you want to learn about, is the 2% premium has to be paid by the farmers in case of Kharif crops, 1.5% for the Rabi food, and as 5% in case of commercial as well as horticulture crops. So remember this. Another important feature, because as you know, this is a centrally sponsored scheme, and in centrally sponsored scheme, usually there is a different kind of ratio. But here, as you can see, the remaining balance of the premium, that means in case of Kharif crops, 98%, 98.5% and 95%. Those premiums, because anyway to the insurance company, the whole 100% premium has to be paid. Apart from the farmer's contribution, rest of the contribution of the premium will be paid by the central and state governments. And the provision with respect to, distribution of funds will be 50-50 ratio. In normal cases, 90-10 ratio in northeastern cases. But in a centrally sponsored scheme, there is usually a different kind of ratio. Does anyone remember what's the ratio? Usual ratio is what in any centrally sponsored scheme? That means distribution between how much fund does center provides and how much fund does state provides. Yes, science correct. 60-40 ratio is there. Okay, so why I'm telling you this ratio? Because usually we get confused, because this may come as a question that it is a centrally sponsored scheme. So you don't get confused, and there's a special provision that the remaining premium that has to be paid to the insurance company will be equally distributed. That means 50-50 is the ratio, not 60-40. Next is Samarth scheme. So Samarth scheme, it focuses on textile sector. Okay, and the main core crux of the scheme is to provide demand-driven training programs to individuals, so that the industry's need with respect to skilled labor gets met. So this is the sole objective of Samarth scheme. Okay, and rest of the details, let's focus upon that. So it caters to skill development. It's a demand-driven scheme. That means industry will demand scheme, or the skill, or industry will demand a particular skilled personnel. Okay, and the particular skills will be provided training in the training programs. So important details are only these that we want to learn, that more than 85% of the beneficiaries trained so far under the scheme are women. So this is a very huge number. More than 85% are women, and more than 70% of the beneficiaries who have completed organized sector courses have been placed in the companies. Okay, so some of the scheme, the important details is that it is related to the textiles and it is a demand driven skill development program. More than 85% are women and more than 70% of the people that have completed the course are placed. Important details we've covered. Next is a scheme of Haryana government that focuses upon providing compensation in case your produce has been So I will take that question in the end, okay? But first, let's finish the program because almost half an hour is gone. So we were discussing about Haryana government scheme, okay? So it provides compensation in context of, you know, failure of crops, and because of floods or because of maybe, you know, huge rains, the crops have been dismantled. And the Haryana government is providing compensation on the basis of 15,000 per acre. Okay. Next is PM Kisan scheme, Samman Nidhi scheme. Okay, so here it said random detail that Prime Minister must have went to Rajasthan and at there Prime Minister must have, you know, provide the benefits of the Kisan Samman Nidhi scheme to the farmers over there. But what's important for us is to remember that 6,000 per year to farmers is provided under Kisan Samman Nidhi. So who will tell, is this only, the scheme is only for small and marginal farmers? Is this correct statement or incorrect statement? Yes. Okay, so all farmers are there, all landholding farmers are there. Okay, but obviously it has an exclusion list. Please go through with that exclusion list. Okay, just go to the scheme's home page. There is an exclusion list where you will find different type of farmers category that are excluded from the benefits of PM Kisan. And obviously there are taxpayers in there, there are institutional farmers in there, okay, and there are others also. Next is Gram Udyog Vikas Yojana. Okay, so Gram Udyog Vikas Yojana is a, what you can say, a sub-component of a particular scheme. So what's that scheme? So that scheme is Khadi Gram Udyog Vikas Yojana. Okay, so there are two components of this particular scheme. One is this Gram Udyog Vikas Yojana. This is one particular component. Another component is Khadi Vikas Yojana. So when we are discussing about this, can anyone tell what's, you know, under which ministry this Khadi and Village Commission is under? Under which ministry it is under? Who will tell? So Rohit is correct. Ministry of MSME is the correct answer. Okay. Yes. So under this Gram Udyog Vikas Yojana, let's just remember just see what are the details or what are the important benefits that the government has been providing. So over 25,000 electric wheel sets. Okay. So this wheel sets are given to potters. And since, you know, even the Vishwakarma Yojana that we are trying to provide benefits to the artisans, there are. Okay, so in the similar nature, this scheme is also providing various benefits to these traditional artisans. So 25,000 electric wheel sets provided to potters and 2 lakh bee boxes provided to beekeepers. And what we are trying to do, and this is 2 lakh bee boxes provided to 20,000 beekeepers. So these are the benefits provided under Gram Udyog Vikas Yojana. Next is credit guarantee scheme for livestock sector launched to boost rural economy. So as I've already told you, whenever you see a particular scheme that provides loan or credit to any farmers or any section of community that banks has to provide, in that every scheme there will always be a credit guarantee fund, because banks are not very much incentivized to provide loans to these section of communities, because these section of communities possess default risk. Okay, so unless you provide a backing of credit guarantee fund, it's not easy for banks to do so. So naturally, as you can see, a credit guarantee scheme has been launched under agriculture, animal husbandry and infrastructure development fund. So this fund was initially launched. Who will tell me what was the corpus of AHIDF when it was launched? How much crore was the corpus? Yes, science correct. 15,000 crores was the corpus given under Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund. 15,000 crores. Okay, but this scheme, which is credit guarantee scheme, aims to strengthen credit delivery system. Okay, and what's the corpus of this credit guarantee scheme or the credit guarantee fund is 750 crores. So we've seen the corpus of AHIDF, the fund itself. Now the credit guarantee fund, this is another fund. We've understood the corpus. Now what's important for us to remember is how much credit guarantee will be provided. So up to 25% of the credit disbursement guarantee will be provided. So this is one thing. And what's another thing? Where will this credit guarantee fund will be placed, or which agency will take care of this credit guarantee fund? So as you can see, NABS Sanrakshan Trustee Company Private Limited, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of the exam that you are trying to give, NABARD. Okay, 15,000 crores Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund, 750 crores credit fund, up to 25% guarantee is there, and obviously with NABARD the fund is there. So as you can see, in Animal Husbandry Fund, 15,000 crore corpus is there. Interest subvention of 3% is provided. Please remember this. And loan up to 90% of the total project cost from any scheduled commercial bank or any other implementing agency will be provided to you. Okay. Next is production linked incentive scheme for food processing industry. Another important portion that you need to remember from the perspective of phase 1 examination. So just remember the corpus and the tenure. So 10,900 crores is the corpus and the tenure is of 6 years from 21 to 27. So PLI scheme 10,900 crores from 2021 to 22 to 2026-27. And obviously in PLI scheme, as all PLI scheme, the incentives are provided for incremental production. So that's what we are trying to focus upon. And then there is obviously, whatever PLI scheme that you are seeing here, you will realize that only the sectors that government wants to either develop or either they want to expand, the schemes are provided. There is no scheme such as PLI agriculture. There is only PLI food processing. There is only PLI millet based products. Why? Because government wants to expand the millet base not only because of health terms, but also because of environmental terms. So the PLI scheme for millet based products is 800 crore corpus. Okay, so this was also launched in the previous financial year. Now another type of current affairs we've done with schemes. Now let's see various agriculture and other types. So NIRF ranking came. So we are only interested into universities that are focusing on agricultural research or something. Okay, so topmost agriculture university came out to be Punjab Agriculture University, Ludhiana. Okay, so just remember this, that this has attained the top spot amongst the state agricultural universities in India. And other, if you want to remember, you can remember that 8th spot has been secured by JB Pant, Sher-e Kashmir, the 9th spot, okay, and Chaudhary Charan Singh, the 10th spot. But important is this only, Punjab Agricultural University. Next is Indian Institute of Horticulture Research, Bengaluru. They actually discovered a particular breed of jackfruit or a variety of jackfruit that not only is enhanced in terms of taste, nutritional value, and its potential for making fruits such as jam, quash and fruit bars. Also, another important feature that this variety of jackfruit possesses the large amount of weight, 25 to 32 kilograms. That means it is sorry, give me a second. So this new variety is obviously a much more improved product. It was discovered by IIHR Bangalore and it's a variety of jackfruit. These three things that we need to remember. Just remember this weight also. Nothing much more that. If a question comes, it can come as a one-liner. Next is ICAR SEBA scientists have discovered a new shrimp variety, okay, known as P. indicus. So here what is important for us is to remember is that what's the India's seafood exports currently estimated. So it is estimated at rupees 42,000 crores. So just remember, or just remember at least the rough figure that around 40,000 crores India's seafood exports are there. And as you can see, farmed shrimp continues to be approximately 70% of the India's seafood export market. Okay, so this is very huge number that shrimp is actually taking into. Next is Punjab Agricultural University discovered a variety of wheat that obviously is helpful in reducing the risk of type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular diseases. What's better than that if such type of varieties are there? So PBW RS1, please remember this, Punjab Agricultural University, and it takes care of diabetes as well as cardiovascular diseases. Next is ICAR Central Tuber Crops Research Institute developed the e-technology or crop based smart farming technology. Okay, so it utilizes Internet of Things and other technologies in order to actually understand that how much, in context of raw materials such as fertilizers, pesticides, and even in fertilizers, what type of particular fertilizers are needed and in what quantity in order to increase the yield of the produce. Okay, so this technology provides such details to the farmers and it naturally has the potential to increase production yield. Okay, so that's why this technology has been honored at the 95th Foundation Day ceremony of ICAR in New Delhi. So what do we need to remember? That it is being developed by ICAR CTCRI located in Thiruvananthapuram and it has been honored at 95th Foundation in New Delhi. And the functioning of this technology I have already explained to you. Next is Odisha government and California University. Okay, so remember, even MOU's question usually gets asked. Okay, so Odisha government as well as California University have signed an MOU in order to develop or in order to have cooperation in between related to agriculture as well as allied activities. So that's only important. Now, Central launches technological advancements in crop insurance, empowering farmers and streamlining operations in Fasal Bima Yojana. So in this scheme, there are three types of initiatives that the government has launched. We will see those initiatives. We will understand what's the purpose of those initiatives, and that's it. That's about it. Only so they have huge probability of coming into examination because obviously it is related to one of the flagship scheme of the government. Also, it is utilizing technology to make this scheme a lot better. So what are these three initiatives? So as you can see, Yes Tech Manual, WINDS portal and AIDS app. So Yes Tech Manual, as you can see, it is a comprehensive guide developed after extensive testing and analyzing various type of case studies that have been happening since the launch of this particular scheme. Okay, so you will find what you will find in the portal. You will find best practices, integration insights for other different types of data. Yes, Rohit is right. Very good. Okay, I'm glad that you already know these things because these are the important things that you all need to remember. Okay, so WINDS portal is a centralized platform that hosts, manage and processes hyperlocal weather data. Okay, so when you know the information regarding weather, okay, so you'll be much more able to, obviously from the insurance company's perspective, it is beneficial for us to what does actuaries do? They set the premium rates. So if they have a particular data with respect to weather, the premium rates will be much more optimized. Okay, and even for farmers, they can also mitigate the risk on the basis of data of weather. Next is AID app, and it's obviously on the Android platform. It provides door-to-door enrollment support. Okay, so all you can see from the name itself. Yes Tech Manual is there, comprehensive data, WINDS is there, W for weather, and AID app is there, AID for support. So in any way you want, you can remember this, please remember this. Now there is a two different type of initiatives. Okay, so here we will talk about Fasal initiative and Nadams initiative. These two types of initiative are utilizing satellite technology in order to do different kind of mapping on the Earth's surface. But what's the purpose? Let's see. The Fasal technology, if you remember this, and please remember the full form also. So forecasting agricultural output using space agro, meteorological and land-based observations. So it's mapping the crop output or crop yield, you can say. So this is the Fasal project. Whereas in Nadams, it is primarily focusing upon drought assessment and monitoring of the drought in the country. Okay, so the core difference between the two projects is much clear. Also, the purpose what they are doing is utilizing satellite technology in order to have a comprehensive map. Next is mobile application developed under Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. So what's the corpus of Matsya Sampada Yojana? 20,050 crores. And this is the application, Report Fish Disease app. Okay, so under this application, as the name suggests, you can report various diseases related to the fish. Sorry. Now next is rural development and social issues, obviously related to these. Okay, so National Training Center has been launched. Don't go by this heading. So there's a new National Training Center for Food Safety and Standards have been launched or inaugurated in Ghaziabad. Just remember this news, nothing much is there. Okay, so this new Center for Food Safety and Standards has been inaugurated in Ghaziabad. Next is a mega conclave has been set to start to strengthen rural financing through PSCS. So what is a PSCS? Full form, anyone? Primary Agricultural Credit Societies. Okay, so it's the most basic form of a cooperative banking system in the rural space. And this conclave is organized by NCDC. Okay. Next is Bhumi Samman Award. So this is provided by our Honorable President to various state secretaries as well as various officers. Okay. So obviously in this news, what is important is for which scheme this award is provided. So this award is provided for Digital India Land Records Modernization Program. Okay, so please remember this. So for this particular scheme, this award has been provided to various secretaries as well as district collectors. So that means bureaucrats. Next is Gajendra Singh Shekhawat inaugurates National Conference on WASH Partners Forum. So who will tell me what's the definition of or what is the full form of WASH? Does anyone know? Yes, Rohit is right. Water, sanitation and hygiene. Okay. So here we are discussing about WASH Partners Forum. So when we discuss about water, sanitation and hygiene, what do you think? What type of government scheme are there that caters to such type of specific objectives? Can you list any particular scheme that is catering to sanitation or hygiene, or any particular scheme that caters to water? Yes, Swachh Bharat Mission in case of hygiene, and what else? In case of water, what is there? What types of schemes are there? What about water? Hygiene is done. Yes, correct. Jal Jeevan Mission. Okay. So these two are the most important flagship schemes that you need to do for the exam anyways, but those schemes are important when we discuss in case of WASH. So, the conference of this Rural WASH Partners Forum, first of all, remember this theme, which is accelerating progress towards a Swachh Sujal Bharat. You will see Swachh and Sujal. Okay, so that means they are focusing and they are providing impetus on these two types of schemes, Swachh Bharat Mission and Jal Jeevan Mission. Okay, and they are celebrating the successful collaboration of RWPF, that means this Rural WASH Partners Forum, with Department of Drinking Water Sanitation along with KPMG India. So this institution is important, or this company is important, because one liner question can directly come like this. Okay, so please remember this. Yes, themes are important, because usually most of the time these things gets asked. Okay, if these news wouldn't have been important, I wouldn't have put it in the PDF. Okay, because anyway, if you see in July and August, 60 pages of news is there, but I have collated the most important ones for us to remember. Okay. Next is Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs organizes City Recycler Connect workshop to promote Swachh Bharat mission under this campaign. Meri life, mera Swachh Shahar. Okay, and just like there was another country's contribution in a particular scheme that we discussed in the start, there is a contribution with a different country in this campaign, and this country is Germany. So German Development Cooperation is collaborating with this Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs for this workshop, City Recycler Correct workshop. Okay. And under this, Meri life, mera Swachh Shahar, as you all know, how much impetus that we are focusing upon in context of Swachh Bharat mission. This campaign is also being launched to, incentivize usage of reduce, reuse and recycle. So for us to remember is what? That German Development Corporation as well as Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs have, started a workshop named City Recycler Connect workshop. So just I have told you, one liner can come on the basis of that KPMG India can come, one liner of such details can also come. So now that we have discussed about this, so let's revise the previous one also. Which program we discussed at the start where the Japanese organization provided a contribution for that particular scheme. What was the name of that program? Anyone? We discussed it at the start. Yes, National Program for Dairy Development. Okay. So, can you roughly tell me how much corpus was there? Rough idea. I'm not expecting you to just give me pinpoint. Just give me a rough idea. How much crores was the corpus? Who will tell? Let's see who are. Yes, on point, Rohit. On point. 1568. Good. Now let's move on to the next news, which is a FAO as well as OECD report. Or just forgive me. Before this report, let's focus on this details. Very much important. Municipal solid waste status in India. Okay. So, as you can see, approximately 1.45 lakh tons of municipal solid waste with nearly 35 to 40% constitutes dry waste. So, such data is not only important from the objective perspective, you utilize it in context of what? Descriptive paper. Because climate change as well as pollution as well as sustainable development, everywhere such type of data can be utilized. Okay. Now next the report, OECD as well as FAO report. FAO is very much important for the NABARD. Okay, so this outlook, agricultural outlook from 23 to 32. Okay, remember the year also. And in this outlook, they have discussed with respect to emissions. Okay, so greenhouse gas emissions from agriculture sector, this outlook of FAO as well as OECD is saying it will surge by 7.5% over the next 10 years. Okay, and what's the most important sector within the agriculture sector that will contribute the highest in case of greenhouse gas emissions? It's the livestock sector. How much percentage? 86%. Okay, so that 7.5% rise in greenhouse gas emissions by the agriculture sector is mostly driven by livestock sector. Okay, so these data are important. One-liner questions can usually be asked, and these reports of UN as well as OECD FAO are very much important for ESI as well as ARD phase 2. Okay, so remember them from the long-term perspective. Next, another UN United Nations report on global trade in agricultural May record. Okay, so 1.3% per year. So 1.3% report has been recorded by the global trade in agriculture, and some important individual crops I have also listed, that maize, wheat and soybeans will experience the largest decrease in annual growth, in the next 10 years. This report has said. Sorry. Okay. And with respect to meat, okay, so overall increase in total meat will be largely driven by poultry meat. And for milk production also, 1.5% annual growth rate for the next 10 years is being, projected by this report of United Nations. So 1.3 global agriculture, global trade in agriculture, 1.5 milk growth rate. Next is FAO launches action plan for ambitious climate strategy to tackle global agricultural challenges. Okay, so just remember this action plan's tenure, nothing too specific is also there. So 22 to 31 is there. Okay, so rest all the things are generic, that there is a climate crisis going on and how through agricultural we can reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. This is the aim of this action plan designed by FAO. Okay, so just remember this tenure only, 22 to 31. Now the most important portion, government revises the crop residue management guidelines enabling efficient ex situ management of paddy straw. Okay, so obviously this is between Haryana, Punjab, UP and Delhi. 4 states are there, not much more than that. Okay, so such trivial details, as you can see, although very much commonsensical, but sometimes are most vulnerable for mistakes. So we'll just focus on the important portions. Okay, so what's the important portion? That government will provide financial support at the rate 65% of the project cost. So what's the project cost? Okay, so any infrastructure development to reduce or to do ex situ management of crop residue, 65% of the cost will be provided by the government of, okay, and industry will provide 25% of it, and lastly the remaining will be provided by FPOs. Okay, clear? Next is Gajendra Singh Shekhawat launched unified registration portal for Govardhan. So Govardhan scheme, as you all know, so the primary objective is to streamline the process of setting up CBG biogas plants, okay, compressed biogas plants. Okay, so this scheme is also there. Mostly theoretical portion is there, which you can revise, and we will revise if this scheme comes again. Next is Fisheries Department launches Fisheries Startup Grant Challenge. Okay, so they have collaborated, this Department of Fisheries have collaborated with Startup India as well as DPIIT. Okay, and this challenge has been utilized. So as most of the financial actors or financial institutions have been doing in context of hackathon, so this is of the similar nature that this Department of Fisheries is been doing. So they are actually trying to incentivize startups to focus on fisheries as a sector to improve, okay, and various benefits will also be provided. So you can see the startup that will win will receive a cash grant of 2 lakh rupees. Okay, and the ceremony will take place on National Fish Farmer Day, July 10th. So remember this from the perspective of GA also. Next, I have taken out this news, although you will see that how this news is important, but because this news talks about the 42nd foundation day or the celebration day of NABARD, that's why I have put in this news. Okay, so this day was celebrated at Pragati Maidan in New Delhi, where the Home Minister distributed micro ATM cards to the milk societies and RuPay Kisan credit cards to the members of these societies. Okay, so here what's important, that this is 42nd foundation day, happened in Delhi, ATM cards as well as RuPay cards distributed to milk societies. These four things, please remember this. Another thing, that government also reduced surcharge on cooperatives from 12% to 7% and minimized the minimum alternate tax from 18.5 to 15%. So they discussed about this. So anyways, if they have discussed about this, it becomes important. Next is poultry and goat loans or Pashu Kisan Credit Card Scheme under Pashu Kisan Credit Card Scheme. So what's the interest? So low interest rate of only 4% on the loan. Okay. So this is the most important benefit when you're trying to buy any livestock in order to increase your agricultural production or allied production. Okay. So the benefit under this scheme is that you are getting 4% loan. Okay. So this is a very much beneficial, because in any usual case you might have gotten 7%. Okay, so similarly, it looks like a 3% subvention provided. Next is promotion of cow shelters for natural farming. So government in India since 2019-20 under Bharatiya Prakritik Krishi Pradhati, a sub scheme of Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana, has been promoting natural farming. So this is related to what type of farming? Anyone? Rohit says sustainable agriculture. Shatakshi is right. It is related to organic farming. Okay. So it's the flagship scheme of government for organic farming. So who will tell me this scheme is a sub-component of which umbrella scheme? Yes, National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture. Very good. Okay. So at least learn the order, or at least learn the chart of how these schemes are being structured. And this, a sub-component of this Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana, which is Bharatiya Prakritik Krishi Padhati, focuses upon promoting natural farming by promoting indigenous practices. Okay. And not other type of raw materials such as fertilizers and pesticides. So this status up till July is important, which says that about about 4 lakh hectares area under 8 states are covered under this BPKP scheme. Okay. Next is another important detail that you will see in the budget session also, that in the budget that over the next 3 years 1 crore farmers will be facilitated to adopt natural farming. Okay, so prepare this budget also. Now we will shift to plantation and horticulture. So the news is about Karnataka, which aims to plan or launch Arabica coffee branding initiative and promote coffee ecotourism. So as you all know, Karnataka is the most famous or the largest producer of coffee in India. Okay, and these are the major regions, Chikmagalur and Kodagu. So now these important details are important, that according to the post-monsoon estimates of Coffee Board and the production during that means previous financial year, out of 3.6 lakh tons of coffee produced, 2.54 has been contributed by Karnataka. Okay. Next is Natural rubber production surges by 8.3% in financial year 23. Even consumption soared by 9%. So naturally you see continuity between demand and supply. Okay. And this is mostly driven by automobile tire segment because it remains the largest consumer of natural rubber in India. So remember this. Automobile tire segment 70% largest consumer of natural rubber. And what about India's ranking among major rubber producing countries? 6th. So in case of rubber, India is 6th. Now let's recap. In case of milk, what's the India's rank? Also tell me in case of meat, what is India's rank? And also in case of egg, what do you think is India's rank? Yes, Rohit, correct. In case of milk, first, 8th and 3rd. Okay, and in case of rubber, 6th. So these rankings are very much important for you to remember because questions usually gets asked again and again. Now we are discussing in context of banana farming. The state which tops it is Andhra Pradesh. Also world's largest banana producer. And this is not just any organization saying. Food and Agriculture Organization says in 2021, India had the title of being the world's largest banana producer, and this is mostly because of Andhra Pradesh contribution. Okay. So in the fiscal year 21-22, 56.84 lakh tons has been produced by Andhra Pradesh. Okay. Next is mega plantation drive for oil palm cultivation, and this is under National Mission for Edible Oils, oil palm. Okay. Why the government is focusing upon oil plantation? Because oil seeds or oils are the most imported item by India. Unless we produce domestic capacity or domestic capabilities, this becomes obviously a risk because we are actually giving external or foreign exchange reserves. We are depleting the foreign exchange reserves because of this. So naturally government launched a particular mission, National Mission for Edible Oils, that incentivized farmers to produce more. So it was launched in August 21. It wants to increase palm oil production area to 10 lakh hectares and boost the crude oil production to 11.2 lakh tons by 25-26. So these details please remember by heart, cram it again and again. I will repeat it again so that it gets ingrained into your memory. August 21 it was launched. It wants to increase the production area to 10 lakh hectares, and what's the amount it wants to increase? It wants to increase the production to 11.20 lakh tons by 25-26. This is what we want. Next, one-liner news. Indian Council of Agriculture Research partners with Amazon India, okay, to empower farmers with knowledge and market access. So obviously the capabilities of Amazon India in terms of logistics as well as supply chain, this will be co-opted by ICAR in order to provide solutions to farmers with respect to knowledge and market access. Next is government plans to identify PACS, Primary Agricultural Credit Societies, okay, and they want to promote retail operations also. So what do we mean by that? So they'll identify a particular primary agricultural credit society, and usually those societies are only catering in terms of credit. Okay, so they are providing credit to their own members. But what government is trying to do, making those bodies much more and making the roles of these bodies much more enhanced. So what does this? government wants to do. So not only in terms of credit, the government wants these bodies to do or provide access to fertilizers, pesticides, seeds and other agricultural machinery to farmers. So I hope you are understanding the depth that what government is trying to do in context of PSCS, because they know PSCS as a structure in the rural area is very much strong. Next is government lifts quantitative limit on tur or asur procurement. So what do we mean by that? You know, the concept of MSP is like that if the prices of produce has been, or market prices of produce has been below MSP, then government will procure. Okay. So in case of wheat as well as those grains that are in the public distribution system, obviously there is not that much limit or maybe a higher limit. But in case of pulses, government does not do a lot of procurement. There is always a particular ceiling limit that 25% government will do. Okay. So this is in context of that particular thing, that government says that the ceiling that of procurement that any government agency will do in context of pulses is now being removed. Okay. So previously what used to happen? So the government purchases a maximum of 25% of the production of pulses. That government could do in case the MSP or in case the market prices fall below MSP. But there was a condition: if states wanted, the ceiling can be enhanced to 40%. But right now what is happening? Government right now lifts quantitative limit on these three pulses. So I hope you understand at least this, what is happening here. Next is Interministerial Committee for Facilitation of World's Largest Grain Storage Plan in Cooperative Sector. Okay, so this is obviously the cabinet approved the constitution and empowerment of Interministerial Committee that will be dealing with world's largest grain storage plan. And obviously this is mostly due to that we have even the Niti Aayog in the recent economic survey, if you must have read about that, Niti Aayog lamented the fact that we do a lot of food wastages in India, and this is because of we don't have enough warehousing infrastructure, we don't have enough storage infrastructure. Okay, so this initiative is in that particular context. So why interministerial committee? Because such things cannot be done by a particular ministry. So naturally all these schemes will be combined and all the schemes benefits will be utilized in order to make world's largest warehousing infrastructure. Okay, so what are these schemes? Agriculture Infrastructure Fund, Marketing Infrastructure Fund, Integrated Development of Horticulture, Submission on Agriculture Mechanization. So all these schemes, if you look at closely, it provides funds to what type of infrastructure? Who will tell me? There's a critical key term here. Agriculture Infrastructure Development Fund provide loans to to develop what type of infrastructure? Does anyone know? Two FPO, Achha, you're saying in terms of food processing. Yes, you are right. But usually the term is farm gate infrastructure. That means all the infrastructure that will be required by a particular farmer after the produce has been either, ready to harvest. So naturally, within those type of infrastructure, warehousing infrastructure will always be there. Okay. So they will try to find out money or try to utilize the corpus from there and then build that largest container. This is with respect to time frame and mode of implementation. What we need to remember is that implementation, don't remember this because this is July news. and obviously these 15 days must have already been there. Even 45 days must have been there. Just remember this, that guidelines issued within 15 days and the portal for linkages of PSCS with Government of India will be rolled out within 45 days. Okay, so the details with respect to these two aspects we will deal with when we will discuss the agriculture news in September's, okay, of September news. Next is Swachh Jal Se Suraksha campaign report under Jal Jeevan Mission. Okay, this report has been recently released. Okay, and this campaign has also been organized from 2nd October onwards, from 22. Okay, obviously the objectives as well as purpose are generic: to ensure drinking water quality, create awareness. So the important thing for us is that what are the various activities in there. So as you can see, water quality testing has been reported in 5.39 lakh villages. Remember this because this is a direct report from Jal Jeevan Mission. Okay, drinking water samples were tested in 6.5 lakh schools and 7.16 lakh Anganwadi centers. At least remember the first digit, okay, so that in whenever the option will come, you remember what's the detail is all about. And who are the best performing states? Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and MP emerged as the best performing states during this campaign. Okay, Jal Jeevan Mission, as you all know, launched in 2019 to make provision for portable tap water supply in adequate quantity to every rural household. Okay, so don't forget the keyword: rural household, portable tap water supply in adequate quantity, and obviously in 2019. Next is CRISIL report upon FMCG sector. It says that it will grow by 7 to 9%, and obviously this growth rate is not that much higher because previously it talked about the growth rate of 8 to 10%. But why are we reading such type of news? Because although the CRISIL is a private agency, but data with respect to private agency usually gets asked. As you must have heard or seen in the previous year papers, that CMIE reports have also been asked in the examination. So please remember this, that 7 to 9% growth rate has been there for fiscal year 2023-24. So in case of paddy straw management, Punjab government unveils a 350 crore plan. Okay, so just now we have discussed with respect to ex-situ management of crop residue. Who will tell me what's the percentage contribution of government, of the industry and of the farmer in terms of project cost? Just now we have discussed. Please tell me. All of you must try. Recently, government also launched guidelines with respect to ex-situ management of crop residue because to reduce pollution. Yes, Rohit, correct. 65, 25 and 10. Okay, and now this 350 crore project by Punjab. Okay, so in this, how much this 350 crore will be utilized? So these cooperative societies or agricultural groups will be provided an 80% subsidy on straw management machinery. Okay, and individual farmers will receive a subsidy of 50% and only for this straw management machinery. Okay. So these two are important details in the scheme, that it is 350 crore corpus scheme and this subsidy, different subsidies. National Maritime Heritage Complex. Okay, it will be world's biggest maritime museum that will showcase India's rich maritime history. So if you want, so important portion is that it will be located in Lothal, Gandhinagar, Gujarat, and this is obviously the what it is being true to, or it is giving justice to the place itself, because Lothal, as you all know, has been the dockyard during Indus Valley civilization, showcasing India's maritime history. So this is being developed under Sagar Mala program. Okay, so this is one aspect that you need to remember. It is being developed in 400 acres of land and with an estimated cost of 4,500 rupees, crore rupees. And what's the contribution by major ports? 209 crores. Next is the trout fish farming along India-Pakistan border is being utilized. Okay, so as you can see from the news itself, that tribal farming pilot project for healthiest food, okay, it has been started under guidance of Madhuswami. Sorry. So similar to startups, so even Uttar Pradesh government plans to, make startups thrive in UP also, and for that they have planned to utilize 3,800 crore investment. Okay, where obviously they will provide incentives to startups that are focusing on agriculture sector. Okay, so there was also another scheme of Uttar Pradesh government which was related to dairy or milk sector. What was the corpus the government launched at that particular point of time? Science, the PDF is already available in the paid course. Okay, so don't worry, and all the details are there only. It's just that I've collated the most important news here that I think, or I've also discussed with the sir, that are the most important ones. So the eligibility and key features of this scheme related to agri startup, okay, which has a corpus of 38,000 crores. What are these? That to become eligible for credit line from designated commercial banks, your project must be worth more than 1 crore rupees. Okay, and what interest subsidy will be provided? Interest subsidy of 6% will be provided. Okay, and projects worth up to 2 crores, no collateral will be required. Okay, so those 3 details are there. This 1 crore, no collateral up to 2 crores, subsidy of 6%, and obviously 3,800 crores of agriculture startup. Okay, so please remember this. Next is Bharat Bank's heralding accelerated rural and agriculture transformation. Okay, so this is under Agri Infrastructure Fund, So it's a campaign that is aiming to raise 7,200 crores. So just remember this corpus only. Next is digital platform empowers stakeholders in the growing seaweed industry. Okay. So what is this? Obviously utilization of technology in order to get or in order to build a platform that can enable exchange of seaweeds. So as you can see from the aim itself, that it aims to bridge the demand and supply sustainably and increase the market access. Okay, so it was expected to launch previous month, or we will see in the September news. So it's a B2B marketplace, that means a place where company to company they can actually make a deal with respect to seaweeds. So data with respect to seaweeds. So for seaweed production, okay, so under Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, 640 crores have been provided. So remember this. And the data with respect to seaweed, that India is home to 844 reported seaweed species. Okay. And in terms of production, China ranks first. Next is Bharat Dal Sale Campaign or Chana Promotion Campaign. So it's just a campaign that is promoting sale of Chana Dal, and it has been termed as Bharat Dal. Okay, so any question, if a one-liner question, at least in GA or maybe in ARD, it can come that which dal is actually being termed as Bharat Dal. So you will just mark the Chana Dal option. Okay, and this dal is being offered at 60 rupees per kg for 1 kg packs and 55 for 30 kg packs. Indian Tractor of the Year Award. Okay, so which tractor actually won the award? New Holland 3630 TX Super Plus. So just remember this company. In terms of best tractor, New Holland tractor became the top. Next is Millets Stamp released by ITC in collaboration with India Post. And this is obviously for International Year of Millets. And as you all know, ITC is very much famous for a particular initiative, because when we discuss about CSR initiatives, we discuss about a particular initiative of ITC. Does anyone know about it? What do we call that initiative of ITC? So you must see the initiative. So this initiative is known as eChaupal. Okay, it's a very famous initiative. It's an internet-based platform where ITC tries to procure, things such as soybean and other crops from farmers directly in order to provide them much more income. Okay, so you can look about it, ITC eChaupal. Next is Kerala to conduct first ever digital crop survey to revolutionize agri data collection. Okay, so it is implemented by NABCons, which is a consultancy wing of NABARD. Okay, so that's why, because of this agency is doing this, we've actually put it in this news section. Okay, so the estimated cost is 30 crore rupees. So anything that can be asked is which state is doing its first ever survey. So you'll say Kerala. Which agency is doing this? NABCons. With how much cost? 30 crores. Prime Minister to dedicate 1.25 lakh PM Kisan Samriddhi Kendras to nation. Okay, so what's the Samriddhi Kendras? So these Kendras are converted form of retail fertilizer shops. So they will be converted to provide wide range of other services that are essential for farmers. Okay, so as you can see, one conversion is being here. The shops that have been traditionally been retail fertilizers have been converted to provide other services to agriculture also. And we discussed about another agencies also, which was being converted to provide other agricultural services to farmers. What was that agency? Does anyone remember? Or what was that particular grouping? Just now we discussed. Yes, Satakshi, right. PSCS. Even PSCS was being discussed to being converted to provide various services to farmers. Okay, and obviously this is the latest news with respect to 14th installment of PM Kisan. Okay, so what do we want to remember here? That over 8.5 crore farmers will receive. Okay, and what's the corpus? Well over 2.59 lakh crores. And this is 14th installment. And these things we've already discussed, that how much amount, but please remember these three figures. Very decent, very important. Another thing, sulfur coated urea, also known as urea gold. Okay, so obviously question can come that urea gold, when it is being talked about, that what type of urea is this? So sulfur coated urea. Okay, and then lastly, launch of 1600 FPOs onboarding on ONDC. So what's the full form of ONDC? I hope everybody knows. Open Network for Digital Commerce. Okay, so on ONDC, 1600 FPOs have been onboarded. Okay, so this is the majority of news we've completed. Okay, so in the next session we'll do the next month. So anything you want to ask, feel free to ask. Anything regarding strategy or anything, or we will meet tomorrow. And I thank you guys for being proactive. Very good of you. Anything you want to ask, please ask. Otherwise we'll end this session and we'll meet tomorrow. Yes, that's what I'm actually saying now. I'm doing current affairs, you revise PIB. Okay, that means whatever sources that we are providing to you, most of the questions will be from there only, and some of the PIB news must be even overlapping with this session also. But at the end, what we are trying to do is to provide you comprehensive content. So we have most of the probability of coming questions from these sessions into the examination, because naturally, if you think logically also, those questions that we discussed today, see how much important was there them, because they have been launched by the major institutions such as the cabinet as well as other departments, and even the institutions for which we are actually preparing. If we are looking into initiative of that particular bank or the NABARD, okay, so obviously we are only focusing on such type of news. So Akansha, what you need to do is just at this point of time, just keep on revising. Okay, so every session that you can think of is being done, especially of PIB as well as current affairs, please revise. Okay, and even the MCQ sessions that you can that we will also do, please revise or just join them also. Okay, so at least that will increase the chances of you clearing the examination, because right now if you try to study, obviously study doesn't end. Yes, 3 months CA is more than enough. Yes. Chalo, thank you guys. Thank you for joining. Okay, we'll meet in the next session.